TV shows depend on great characters, and some actors become breakout stars when they star on these popular television shows. But what happens when they get too big for the show? Here are examples of some of the greatest TV shows that were ruined after they lost their biggest star. Back in the late 1970s, Three's Company was a staple on ABC's lineup. The show followed Jack Tripper, played by John Ritter, who pretended to be gay so he could share an apartment with two women, Janet and Chrissy. The setup led to plenty of mix-ups, innuendo, and laughs. Suzanne Summers, who played Chrissy, quickly became a star, but after 4 seasons, she demanded a raise, from $30,000 an episode to $150,000, the same as John Ritter. The network balked. Summers began missing episodes, phoning in her lines, and eventually was written off the show completely. Replacements like Jenna Lee Harrison as Cindy and later Priscilla Barnes as Terry never captured the same magic. The show ran until 1984, but many fans agree it was never quite as good after Chrissy left. Fox's That 70s Show debuted in 1998, spotlighting the lives of a group of teens growing up in suburban Wisconsin during the 1970s. It gave us breakout stars like Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, and Topher Grace. Early seasons blended slapstick comedy with storylines about the culture of the 70s, from the recession and changing gender roles to the rise of youth counterculture. But by season 7, Topher Grace, who played Eric Foreman, decided to leave for a movie career. His exit was written into the show, with Eric moving to Africa. Around the same time, Kutcher reduced his role to pursue film as well. Without Eric and Kelso in the mix, the series tried to patch the holes with new character Randy Pearson, played by Josh Myers, but audiences never warmed up to him. The chemistry of the original group was gone, and the final season felt like a shadow of what came before. The show was canceled in 2006, proving that once you lose the heart of the cast, it's hard to keep the story alive. When The X-Files premiered in 1993, it was unlike anything else on TV. Blending sci-fi, horror, and government conspiracy, it followed FBI agents Fox Mulder and Dana Scully as they investigated paranormal cases. A big part of the show's appeal was the relationship between Mulder, the believer, and Scully, the skeptic. Over the years, their bond grew from professional respect to a deep personal connection. That balance was shattered when Mulder was abducted by aliens in the season 7 finale. Behind the scenes, David Duchovny was locked in a contract dispute with Fox. With him gone, Robert Patrick was brought in as Agent John Doggett. While Patrick gave a solid performance, longtime fans couldn't accept The X-Files without Mulder. The show limped through seasons 8 and 9. Before ending in 2002. When it returned for a revival in 2016, Duchovny was back, and fans breathed a sigh of relief. For many, The X-Files just didn't feel right without Mulder and Scully together. Few shows define the 70s quite like Happy Days. Premiering in 1974, but set in the 1950s, it followed Richie Cunningham, his family, and his cool friend, Fonzie. At first, Richie, played by Ron Howard, was the main character, but Fonzie, with his leather jacket and catchphrases, quickly stole the spotlight. By season 7, Ron Howard decided to leave the show to pursue directing, a move that turned out to be brilliant. Without Richie, the series leaned heavily on Fonzie and introduced new characters like Chachi and Roger Phillips. The tone shifted toward wilder, sometimes sillier storylines. Still, some fans stuck with the show until its finale in 1984. It lasted 11 seasons, but most agree that once Richie left, it never had quite the same charm. When 2.5 Men premiered in 2003, it became one of CBS's biggest hits. The odd couple pairing of Charlie Sheen's carefree bachelor and John Cryer's uptight divorced dad made for great comedy. But in 2011, Charlie Sheen's very public feud with creator Chuck Lorre led to his firing. Sheen's character was suddenly killed off, and Ashton Kutcher was brought in as Walden Schmidt, a billionaire who bought Charlie's house. The show continued for 3 more seasons, but the original chemistry was gone. In the 2015 finale, the writers poked fun at the whole saga. A body double of Sheen's character appeared, only to be crushed by a falling piano, a tongue-in-cheek way to close the book on a controversial chapter in TV history. In 1986, NBC introduced Valerie, starring Valerie Harper as a mom raising 3 sons, while her husband was frequently away. Thanks in part to Harper's creative influence, the show gradually built a strong following. But behind the scenes, Harper was unhappy with her contract and fought for higher pay and more creative control. The dispute escalated, and after season 2, she was fired. To explain her absence, writers killed off her character in a car accident. The show was then retitled Valerie's Family, and later The Hogan Family, with Sandy Duncan stepping in as the boy's aunt. The series carried on for several more years, eventually moving to CBS for its final season. But fans never forgot Harper's sudden disappearance. It's remembered today as one of the more dramatic cast shakeups in TV history. When NBC adapted The Office from its British counterpart, few thought it would become one of the biggest sitcoms of the 2000s. But thanks to a strong ensemble cast and Steve Carell's performance as Michael Scott, the series became a cultural phenomenon. Michael was awkward, often clueless, but ultimately lovable, and he was the glue that held the show together. After 7 seasons, Carell left the series partly due to contract issues and partly to focus on his film career. His farewell episode, Goodbye Michael, remains one of the most emotional moments in the entire show. The producers handed the manager's role to Andy Bernard, played by Ed Helms. While Andy had been funny as a side character, giving him the spotlight didn't work quite as well. The writing leaned too much on over-the-top gags, and new characters failed to click with fans. The last 2 seasons dragged, and by the time the series finale aired in 2013, audiences felt it had overstayed its welcome. When Scrubs hit NBC in 2001, it stood out for its quirky blend of comedy, heartfelt drama, and surreal cutaway gags. Zach Braff's JD was at the center, alongside Sarah Chalk, Donald Faison, and John C. McGinley. The show developed a loyal fan base, especially among medical professionals who loved its mix of realism and absurdity. By season 8, the show had moved to ABC and wrapped up what many considered the perfect finale, but ABC ordered another season, and that's where things went wrong. Braff and Chalk appeared in only a few episodes, and new characters, played by Eliza Coupe, Carrie Bechet, and Dave Franco, took over. Even creator Bill Lawrence admitted the show felt so different it shouldn't have been called Scrubs. Fans largely rejected the new direction, and the series quietly ended in 2010 after season 9. For most, Scrubs truly ended with JD's emotional walk down the hallway at the close of season 8. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and please consider subscribing and sharing Recollection Road Entertainment with someone you know. As always, thank you so much for watching.